Hey, how's it going? My name's Brian, and I just wanted to make an update on the Tillamook gold mine video. I When I made that video, I wasn't expecting so many people to watch it or view it. So, I want to thank everybody for commenting, and subscribing on that. Um, when I made that, I only thought like a few friends and family member would see that. So it's really cool to see how many people are interested in this sort of thing. I want to make a quick update on that. Um, and I also want to do a channel update. I have some ideas for um, some sort of like local history, local mystery type things that I'm going to make as well. So leave me any feedback you have on these videos. I'm just kind of exploring like types of different video options I can do. I'm like with this one, I'm gonna try to do it mostly live while I'm talking about it. I think that makes it more personable, but let me know. I don't know. I think maybe I could provide more information um, with a like highly edited video. So let me know. It's all trial and error. I'm not a pro YouTuber or anything. So I want to kind of share with you guys some things I found out about the Tillamook gold mine that I think really lend some credence to this story. Um, and by the way, this mine could have been found decades ago. This mine might not even exist. It might just be a cache they found from a shipwreck. But I think the stuff that I found kind of lends credence that they were finding some gold in the hills and they were trading with people with that gold. So let's go ahead and I forgot to mention a couple people have even commented on my YouTube channel and said that they found the gold mine. Now I don't necessarily believe them, but one person actually posted some pretty in-depth stuff about it, but both those people have now deleted those comments. So that's also another thing to consider. Let's go ahead and get into this. The first thing I want to point out is this post or this newspaper from the Owl, December 20th, 1913. There's a little blurb here. Find gold mine, Gales Creek, Oregon. Gold has been discovered on the John M. Wall place above Roderick Falls. Quartz assays $14 per ton, and the old timers are singing, "The days of old, the days of gold, the days of old 49." So that's really interesting because this is just right out of Gales Creek. And if you remember the story, the Indians would head west out of Gales Creek and come back a few days later laden with gold. So this really isn't that far away. And let me go ahead and show you where this is. So this is the location of the mine, this little red dot right here. Or not the mine, but the, maybe it's the mine, I don't know. But this is the location of the waterfall. Um, and Gales Creek is right in this area right here. So Gales Creek, the town. So, um, and what we can see right away is this is on Stimson Lumber Company land. So I don't endorse trespassing or anything like that. There's no need to do that. If this was where the mine was, then people would know about it, almost certainly. So don't trespass. Um, and the interesting thing about this waterfall is that it was a very popular tourist destination in the early 1900s. And I'm a local person. Like, I'm not that local, but like, I tend to know about things like this, and I had no clue about this. Um, and the reason why I know this was a tourist destination was because if you search Roderick Falls in the Oregon newspaper archives, there's just tons of stuff that comes up from the early 1900s of people, picnicking or camping there, and it was owned by the Walls. They had a little summer cabin there, and it's just a real popular spot. Like, I don't remember what any of these articles are, but I did look at all of them. But you can just see the members of the Yadrift Club with their husbands and children enjoyed a most pleasant outing at Roderick Falls Sunday. The merry party went out in an auto truck and spent the day playing games in the greensward and viewing the beautiful scenery in the wild. The ladies of the party spread a sumptuous lunch at noon. So it's a very popular spot. Maybe some people that are even more local to the area know about this, and they're like, "What are you talking about? This is everybody knows about that." But I've never heard of that. So that's really cool. And let's go ahead and look at this in Google Earth. Now, on the fishing forum iFish, where I originally learned about the Tillamook gold mine story, there's a lot of talk about the waterfall being part of the clue. And I'm not saying they're wrong, but I'm not sure where they got this waterfall information from. Because in the book, right here, Lost Mines and Treasures of the Pacific Northwest, it says nothing about a waterfall. It says, where water runs into a lake in a black canyon, you will find it, is what the old dying Indian woman told Emmerich. So, I'm not saying they're wrong about this waterfall, but I just haven't seen where they're getting this waterfall information from. So if you know, let me know in the comments or something, because I'd be really curious. Obviously, that's a big clue if that's true. But in this spot, there's obviously no lake, so that doesn't say anything. But it shows that there's gold in these hills, right? Gold above Roderick Falls. And there's another article here in the Hillsboro Argus, December 18th, 1913, and it says that gold mine. John M. Wall, who owns a tract of land up at Roderick Falls, a small tributary of Gales Creek, may soon be numbered with the Staten and Leroy mine owners, for he has a contract with two prospectors who have already found gold-bearing quartz that is assayed at $14 per ton. Another man, Dave Wheeler, some time ago found a piece of quartz just below the place. That assayed a figure so high that it would sound impossible to print. Mr. Wall entered into a contract with Messrs. Henpanker and Martinovich. They too prospect and developed, and the mine, if found paying, to be divided among the trio on percentage. So confident are the prospectors that they have a rich find that they are working like Trojans to develop, and they expect to become rich themselves and make Wall and another John Hayes Hammond. Wall's friends hope it will pan out. For years and years, prospectors have talked of a rich mine in the Coast Range on the east slope, where they say an old California miner found a rich surface prospect. This may be the location. So, this is the last time this gold above Roderick Falls is mentioned in the Oregon newspaper archives. So, I do not know what happened with that story. I think I did some quick Google searches and I couldn't find it either. Did John M. Wall end up getting rich? I think that would be a thing to look into. What happened with this company, Henpanker and Martinovich? It just shows you that there was gold in those hills. Maybe it's just a little bit, but there is gold there. And what happened with this California miner, too? I haven't heard about that before, so that could be an interesting thing to look into. Oh, and this is Roderick Falls, a postcard from the early 1900s. You can see these two people standing up here by the falls. It's very brushy right here, but apparently the gold was found up above there. So, pretty cool postcard. The site of many happy Saturday picnics. So, from Henrik Hall by Horse and Wagon during 1902 1906. Very cool. And the other thing I wanted to show you guys was um, this article in the Beaverton Enterprise on Friday, June 27th, 1941. So this is quite a bit later, and I think it really gives credibility to the Tillamook gold mine story. So let me go ahead and read this for you. It says, "The Indians had gold, lots of it. They used it on their ornaments and they had it about their persons," Sam related. "Now, whoever heard of an Indian digging or working hard to get anything like gold? No, sir. If he had the stuff, you knew that he got it pretty easy. And so old Hank Leatherman was all for finding out where they were getting the yellow stuff. But the only drawback in Hank's plan was that he did not know his Indian psychology any too well. He didn't do anything about the Indian end of it for a long time, but he had hunted in the hills himself. And then a thing happened that set him off and caused him to act. One day, while hunting in the hills west of Yamhill, he shot a grouse, and Hank, being a curious sort of fellow, always wanting to know the whys and wherefores, cut the crop of the bird open to see what it had been eating. As he prodded about with the blade of his knife, he suddenly hit something that was hard and grated. He sorted it out of the other matter. The bird had eaten and squinted at it. Then his eyes popped out, and his heart began to beat a lot faster. The thing was a gold nugget. So about the first thing that Hank did after he got home was to go and look up old McKay, an old-timer among the Indians. He told him what he wanted to do was to find the mine where the Indians got the gold. See, like, right away, like, this article is just stating the mine where the Indians got the gold. Like, it's like a matter-of-fact thing. So, it really shows you, like, people knew about this back in the day, and it wasn't considered, like, crazy to think about. It was like, oh, just a matter of fact, yeah, the Indians got the gold in the hills. So, about first thing Hank did after he got home was to go and look up old McKay, an old timer among the Indians. He told him what he wanted to do was to find the mine where the Indians got the gold. Old McKay's face was immobile as a leather mask. Would he show Hank where the mine was? Would he guide him to it? McKay muttered his assent in two short syllables. Me go. Next day, the old Indian set out with Leatherman. Back into the jumbled ridges that wove into each other like so many linked sausages went the two men, climbing up a tangled hillside, dropping down the rotten shale of the other side, but always up and farther back into the wilds of the range, and McKay leading the way. Not once did he hesitate. The going was hard and exhausting, but Hank's hopes were high. What couldn't a fellow do to discover a gold mine? After all, it would mean a fortune, for the stuff must be lying around on top of the ground, else the Indians would not have it. Neither would the grouse be able to pick it up. The sun shot upward in the heavens, and the shadows shortened as midday approached. Still, the old Indians plodded on. Would they ever get there? Leatherman was dragging along in McKay's wake, wondering where the mine could be. When would they find it? Would he just find some nuggets lying about? Just how much gold altogether would he be able to pick up? They were way beyond the place where he had killed the grouse, but the very thought of picking up gold buoyed him up, gave him added strength to go on. The Indians knew where he was going. This sort of thing went on for hours. Then old McKay stopped, and apparently was looking about on the ground. Hank put on a burst of speed and hurried forward. He must be at the mine at last. Like a small boy who wants to find the first flower in a wooded pasture, Hank rushed forward, his eyes glued to the ground, as though he expected to see a yellow gleam among the moss and tangled ferns that covered the steep ground with a heavy mat. "What is it, McKay?" he called. "Have you found the mine? Is this the place? Have you found some gold?" Hank was pawing the ferns, searching frantically, but the old Indian merely wandered, first one way, then the other. Finally, he came back to Hank, who this time was standing immobile, just watching all expectancy. "Is this the place, McKay?" Slowly, the old Indian shook his head. "Lose 'em trail," he muttered, and nothing more. "Come on, where's the mine?" shouted Leatherman, who was beginning to suspicion that things were not what they should be. "Lose 'em trail," repeated McKay. He never budged another step. Hank argued, bribed, cajoled, and threatened. Still, old McKay remained motionless. "Lose 'em trail." Imagine an Indian losing a trail. Finally, a last resort. Hank pulled out his pistol. And this could be where the story comes from. If you remember in my last video, we talked about how some prospectors had killed an Indian and his son. And I haven't so far yet been able to find anything about that story or corroborate it. So this could be where that's coming from, but I'm not sure. Finally, as a last resort, Hank pulled out his pistol. "Well, McKay," he said, "guess I'll just shoot you and make a good Indian out of you once and for all." He raised the gun in a menacing manner, but it didn't scare old McKay. He'd known Hank too many years for that. He knew Hank wouldn't shoot him. "Hank, don't you know Indian can't take white man to mine? If I show you mine, my life not worth anything when I get back to Valley." And that's the way Hank Leatherman and no one else has ever found it either. But lots of people know that there's gold in them there hills, especially since Hank Leatherman found that nugget in that grouse's crop. He kept it around for quite a while and then sold it. It was worth $250. And that's the story Sam told. And he told another one almost identical, one that took place up in Mount Adams country of Washington. Here again, the Indians had plenty of gold, but every time they tried to take a white man to the mine, they always lost them trail. And who could blame them? The white man had a way of gobbling up nearly all the Indians' land and other possessions, including the game, and giving very little in return. And that's basically where that story ends there. So, I mean, they talk about it, the mine, like it's matter of fact. And I think you could do a little research into old McKay, see what that's about, or Hank Leatherman. Now, the last article I want to leave you guys with is really interesting because it actually points out a place that I showed in my last video, and it lends credibility to the story already, like quite a bit of credibility. And this is posted in the Hillsborough Argus, September 10th, 1908. And it's about D.B. Emmerich. And D.B. Emmerich is the son of Sol Emmerich, who had the 160 acres of farmland that the Indians would use sometimes. And he was the one who befriended the Indians, and he's the one that the old dying Indian lady supposedly told the location of the mine to, and that's where we got the clue from. So this is his son, and it says D.B. Emmerich, who returned from Wilson River a few days ago, says he found colors of gold on Wilson River and believes that it can be found somewhere in paying quantities on one or both forks of the above-named river. He relates that 40 years ago, some coast Indians gave his father, the late Sol Emmerich of Cornelius, 2 or 3 fine nuggets of gold, which they said they picked up in a creek near the head of Wilson River. Okay, and that's exactly the location that I was talking about in my last video. And Mr. Emmerich had the nuggets made into a ring which his wife wore for many years. Since that time, many prospectors have endeavored to find the creek where the Indians found the gold, but up to the present, it has not been located. Colors of gold are easily found all along the coast, on the beaches and in the streams, but on the coast the gold is too fine to be saved, and in the creeks it does not seem to be abound in paying quantities. So there we go, right away. Much credibility to the story. This was published in 1908. And let's go ahead and take a look at this location again. So this is Blue Lake, and this is the head of the Wilson River. So here's the Wilson River right here. I was pointing this out on my last video. Like, look at this cliff face right here. It's very interesting. Now, this has been logged, but let me go ahead and look at this. I'm actually doing this live. I haven't looked at this in a long time. Let's look at this with some different maps here. I'm just going to post in the coordinates here. Okay, so yeah, that's Blue Lake. This is the head of the river right here. Comes down here, but there's no stream. This would be that mountain right here. We have stream going in right here, coming off a mountain right here, coming off a mountain right here. I just wanted to look to see if it showed any stream right up here, because that seems like a very interesting spot, especially right here where it almost seems like there's a stream bed right there. But I mean, there's lots of little things on here that look very interesting. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure you have streams coming off all these places. Let's let me get the coordinates right here. We can look at this because there's 2 streams coming off right here. Okay, so that's what I was looking at. Sometimes it's hard to see like where you're at exactly on here. So we have a stream coming down right here, and we have a stream coming down right here. Obviously, these streams aren't entering into small lakes, but it's a dark canyon. I mean, this is a really big canyon. Big cliffs on either side. Stream coming down. And it's possible there could have been a lake here. But maybe she was just talking about up here, and they were really finding this gold over here. So, I mean, this seems like a very strong location for the gold. But that's kind of what I wanted to put out today. I think that's a lot of information to put out. I can keep looking into this a lot more. I haven't really even dug into Frank Waitress or Sol Emmerich that much, and those would be some really interesting people to get into. So Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe if you want to see more. Let me know. I'm going to hopefully be putting out some more videos soon. I appreciate it.